From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Monday, October 16th. I'm Diane Parker in for Augusta this morning. And new this morning, $1 million worth of work is done in downtown Billings, setting the stage for young families to grow up together. As Q2's Augusta McDonald shows us, the team behind this project found out along the way how challenges can bring something even better.
This historic home might be recognizable to you. Now it's going to be hosting some new residents who are looking forward to a new future. Heather and Heidi are twins, and they have something else in common.
Heidi and I, for many years, had housed homeless teens in our own homes.
It's their shared love for young families that led to a bigger dream.
We started raising funds. I wrote a women's devotional to try to raise funds.
They got more than they bargained for.
What we had envisioned of being just a little remodel, a little renovation, has turned into a brand new home.
This brand new home is the Sunshine House, a temporary place for up to 5 teenage mothers and their babies to live.
He's my sweetie pie.
Heidi's grandson Jalen is here to make sure the new place checks out.
The biggest thing is these mamas come to us with backgrounds of trauma and abuse and neglect and poverty. And so it, first of all, breaks the generational cycles.
Breaking down these walls to build up young mothers and to filling a gap in need for permanent housing for homeless teens in Montana who become pregnant. According to a 2020 state report, Montana has 19 shelter beds for this population statewide. There are almost 5,000 pregnant or parenting young women at risk of homelessness in the state. The Sunshine Home hasn't opened yet and has already turned away 22 women seeking shelter while they raise their babies.
And it allows them to have a safe, loving environment where they can get their education and have that ability to thrive and deal with past trauma.
It's quiet here now, but these rooms will soon be filled with kids. Jalen seems to think they'll like it here. In Billings, Augusta McDonald, MTN News.
A ribbon cutting for the home is set for Thursday. All right, and it's time to get a check of this Monday morning weather with Miller.
Well, good morning, Diane. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yeah, good to see you too, bright and early.
Yes, have a good weekend.
It was pretty good. I mean, I didn't really do a whole lot. How about you?
Me neither. I enjoyed the weather.
Yeah.
It was really nice out there. And if you missed out this weekend, the party continues today. Another day we're going to stay above average. Our fair share of sunshine. We'll see some clouds today, but we are going to stay dry. Now, we may see a few changes as we get into the forecast tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of rain with this weak cold front coming through. Really, the big story tomorrow is going to be the winds, and we'll tell you about that with the main forecast here in just a bit. But yesterday, as we take a step back in time, almost 10 degrees above the norm, even warmer. Today, our overnight low pretty much on target. Top gust yesterday of 24 miles an hour. Those winds will be somewhat breezy again today, but tomorrow really with the passing on that front, we could see some strong gusts up to about 60 miles an hour. Been pretty dry out there, but we're still pacing ahead for the month and for the year. We don't have a lot of rain in the forecast this week. Maybe tomorrow, and that should be about it. Temperature-wise, it is a mild start. We should be around the upper 30s waking up this morning. We're at 51 here in Billings. Humidity at 59%. Winds out of the southwest at about 12 miles an hour. Temperatures in the 40s for the most part this morning. A couple 30s there. We got 38 in Jordan, Glendive, down in Gray Bull, and Sheridan. But all of us going to stay warmer than average basically this entire week. When does that cool down finally come in, fall-like temperatures, and are they going to stick around anytime soon? We'll show you some outlooks, what we're thinking coming up. Maybe a nice cool down just in the time for Halloween.
But not too cold.
No, it's hard to say at this point.
Not.
Hard to say at this point, but we'll see.
You'll keep an eye out.
We'll try.
All right, thanks a lot, Miller.
Okay.
Well, another week begins in Wyola with children being held out of class. The district canceled again today after doing so every day last week without explanation. Parents are again wondering why their kids can't go to school today. There have been no classes held since a protest last week by parents who claim Wyola staff is abusing their children. Authorities were called and one parent was arrested for assaulting a teacher. This morning, a Billings woman continues recovering from several injuries sustained in a scary weekend crash near Central High. She tells us she's lucky to be alive after the driver who hit her fled the scene. Q2's Charlie Kleps has the details.
It was in this intersection of Broadwater Avenue and Division Street where one Billings woman was involved in a near-fatal hit-and-run accident. The incident has left her rattled, but mostly thankful to be alive.
It was terrifying just to see headlights coming straight at you.
Early Sunday morning, Chelsea Powers was making her usual drive home from work after closing.
I was just heading home down Broadwater.
But that normally routine trip quickly turned into her worst nightmare.
I heard screeching around the corner, and there was a truck that came, and he started kind of fishtailing and came into my lane and hit me head on.
That impact just before 2 a.m. Sunday morning was the last thing Powers felt before being left completely helpless.
You don't know what's going on because the smell of the airbags, and you can't see, you don't know what's going on, and then when you finally realize that you can't even move your leg, it's terrifying.
Powers frantically called out for help, beginning to fear the worst.
I thought I was gonna die. I really did. I saw headlights, and he was not going slow. I got kids and I got family, and I was terrified that they weren't going to see me again.
Fortunately, that wasn't the case, as nearby people jumped to the rescue in the blink of an eye.
They didn't even hesitate. They bailed out and came and helped me, pried that door open, and got 911 on the phone.
Powers escaped the crash, but not without multiple injuries. She suffered a fractured wrist and ankle, as well as a broken knee, which will require surgery. She says whoever hit her must have fled the scene on foot.
If you didn't mean to, then that's fine, but at least have the common decency to check on somebody to make sure they're okay.
A frustrating reality for Powers, who now won't be able to work, but still woke up grateful, knowing this could have ended much worse.
I really appreciate everybody stopping and helping, because there's a lot of people that want it.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
New this morning, the Israel-Hamas war is expected to escalate with a looming Israeli ground invasion of Gaza. The humanitarian crisis is deepening in Gaza as Israel blocks off deliveries of essential goods. Israel has pounded the Palestinian territory with deadly airstrikes that have killed close to 3,000 people. Hamas stormed into the Jewish state on a murderous rampage more than a week ago, killing more than 1,300 people. And this morning, reporter Stephanie Lee Bergen breaks down what Congress might do next to help Israel.
There remains an ongoing debate here in Congress about what lawmakers should do next to help Israel, the United States' strongest ally in the Middle East. And while a new aid package certainly is on the top of that list, that's not the only step Congress can take.
This is not about party or politics. This is about the security of our world.
President Biden acted quickly after Hamas attacked Israel, using pre-existing authority to send military supplies. But the White House knows more help will be needed.
When Congress returns, we're going to ask them to take urgent action to fund the national security requirements of our critical partners.
It's unclear what an aid package might look like, but the Biden administration has said they will rely on the Israelis to specify what they need, and then it's up to Congress to approve it. But the Senate also needs to confirm the new U.S. ambassador to Israel. President Biden nominated Jack Lew to fill that role last month. A hearing is scheduled for Wednesday in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and some say confirming Lew is one way to give Israel immediate support.
A Senate-confirmed diplomat has greater sway with a local government than even some of the best of our State Department personnel who serve as charge d'affaires.
The House and the Senate are also expected to pass bipartisan resolutions reiterating the country's support for Israel and condemning the Hamas attack, a symbolic gesture demonstrating the strength of the U.S.-Israel relationship. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News, Washington.
A 6-year-old Palestinian American boy in Illinois is dead and his mother in critical condition after police say their 71-year-old landlord broke into their apartment and stabbed them repeatedly. Police believe they were targeted due to their Muslim faith and the ongoing Mideast conflict. A statement from President Biden said in part, this horrific act of hate has no place in America. The U.S. House of Representatives is still without a speaker this morning, though Republicans have selected Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio as their most recent nominee. CBS's Naomi Ruckham brings us the latest on the infighting and how one member believes compromise with the Democrats may be necessary.
Nearly 2 weeks since the ousting of former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the U.S. government's third highest office remains vacant. In a closed-door meeting Friday, Republicans chose Representative Jim Jordan via secret ballot, less than a day after Majority Leader Steve Scalise dropped his bid. Scalise could not garner enough support to secure the job, and it's unclear if Jordan has sufficient backing either, leaving some members calling for unity once again.
People are going to have to give and put the interests of the country ahead.
Fellow Republicans said Jordan would spend the weekend working the phones, rallying support for his nomination, which could make its way to the House floor as soon as tomorrow.
We owe it to the American people to get through this process as quickly as possible.
With a slim majority in the House, Jordan will need nearly every Republican to secure the seat. On CBS's Face the Nation Sunday, Ohio Representative Mike Turner didn't rule out making a deal with Democrats to get the votes.
If the radical, almost just handful of people in the Republican side make us unable to be able to return to general work on the House, then I think obviously a deal will have to be done.
Without a speaker, the House is paralyzed and cannot conduct urgent business, which includes passing aid packages for Ukraine and Israel. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Democrats have advised their caucus to vote for the top House Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries. If they all vote against the GOP nominee, Republicans cannot lose more than 4 votes if they hope to secure their top pick for the speakership. And this morning, we want to let you know we're still fundraising for Pack the Place in Pink. Go to ktvq.com/pink right now to make a donation. All the money you give stays right here to help breast cancer patients in Montana.